fix a sorting order for the events command, and I discussed it in the 6 CLI meeting. And there it came up that there are existing issues with the events because of the dependency under the get. So proposal was made to move the events command under the get and make a separate events command altogether. So it will not be dependent under the get. So for that, I have created this cap, which is I'm still trying to improve it, but it has a couple of issues noted in the cap. One is with the events command, and one more with the watch options. I forgot what exactly was it, but there are two issues that I mentioned there. So with that said, the 6 CLI lead mentioned to include the usability team. So I want to discuss what will be our approach, like from SIG usability point of view for this new change.
What do you mean by the SIG usability approach?
So, like we are involved in like I believe like in the past. So if I remember correctly, there was a email thread going on about deprecation of Kubectl copy command. So I think we should be also providing our inputs here, and if not, then we can just leave it as it is.
Yeah, I mean, what I would suggest and what I've seen work really well in other groups is that you present the CAP during this meeting and then open it up for comment and provide the link in the meeting notes. So that's kind of how I would approach it.
Okay. I can share the CAP. All right. Can you guys see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. So here is the CAP. So in which the summary is like, as mentioned, kubectl get event has some limitations. So I included like what are the current limitations and why it can be moved to a separate kubectl event command. So which include one of the existing watch functionality which needs to be extended, and one is for like the one of that is like default sorting order of the events. So under motivation, I have put some of the use cases for the existing watch event command that are proposed in one of the separate issue. So for example, user would like to see a stream of create or update events filtering out deletes or any other event type. Or let's say user would like to see a time of events. So, and based on this motivation, I have put a couple of examples here. So let's say proposed kubectl events command would look something like this. It will present everything, but in the sorting order based on last timestamp, or let's say user want to watch the events for the delete action. So it will be used something like this. And then some of the commands. These are the pretty standard commands that I copied from get, which can be changed later on. But for now, these are the ones that I thought will be good to start with. And then in that cap, I have discussed some of the long-standing issues regarding this. One of this is already mentioned here, kubectl events, sorting order. Other is improve the watch behavior for the events. And the third one is like give the timeline of the events. And so here's a short goal, which says that add an experimental subcommand, kubectl events subcommand under the kubectl to move the existing events from kubectl get, so that there'll not be any dependency under the get, and help existing addressing the existing issues and which cannot be achieved with the kubectl get event command. So uh, here's a proposal, two-liner proposal. I am still working on that. I'll make it better, but for now, here's the proposal, which says the head of an independent event command which can perform all the existing tasks which are under kubectl events command, and also extend the kubectl get events functionality to address the existing issues. And then there are some implementation details like planning to roll out in two phases. First is like introduce the new command, and once there is a proper adoption of the new command, then the old events command can be removed. And based on that, there's a graduation criteria. So like in one, like target for 1.18, you can introduce a new command, and then it can be removed once it's GA. The old command can be removed. So with that said, that's all the cap I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that seems relatively straightforward. Have you gotten any feedback from the architects on what they think about this from an implementation perspective, or are you more looking for just feedback on what people would want out of an events feature from SIG usability?
Yeah, the second one actually. So I like the architect. He did review it initially. He left some comments which I fixed it. So what I'm thinking, like, what will be the user adoption point of view on this command? So
Yeah, well, so I think that that's a really interesting question, and that probably the way that we would want to figure that out is exactly what you've already done, which is explain the additional features that people want out of this tool, and also look at longstanding issues that have been open on the Kubernetes repo that have not been able to be addressed due to not having this command, or due to the constrictions around get events. So I think you've done a great job from that perspective. And then what we could do is just kind of share your KEP with like some notes around about it in the Slack channel and on the and on our agenda, and then see if we can get more feedback.
okay. So I have one question with that side. I did mention that we can see how successfully the command is adopted. So this is new to me actually. So is right now in Kubernetes, whenever we are adding a new command or introducing a new feature, how we are measuring that against the adoption of the users?
I'm
Is
not totally sure. Valerie, do you have any insight into that?
I don't, sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a good question, and we should probably ask it in Contribex, and somebody there might be able to point us in the right direction.
okay? Sounds good. So I'll ping the link. I'll ping it to here in the chat.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for going over that with us.
And yeah, feel free to take a look and let me know if you think it can be improved further.
Okay, sure thing.
I'll stop sharing now.
Okay, let's see. So the only other thing that I had to share is after our meeting a couple weeks, our regular meeting a couple weeks ago, I did meet with people who said that they were interested in discussing putting together a jobs to be done proposal. And so we put that together, and the link was shared in the chat. So I will just quickly go over that with everybody so you can see it. But basically, what we were looking at is jobs to be done, just kind of understanding better who are who are the main users of Kubernetes. So sometimes I think we all are a little worried from the upstream perspective that we are all creators of Kubernetes, but that may not be reflective of your more generic users. And so really making sure that we understand who are the users of Kubernetes, what jobs are they trying to get done with Kubernetes, and are we meeting that both through the user experience and the documentation experience and the getting started experience, right? Like, so how can we kind of make sure that we understand who our users are, understand why did they come to Kubernetes in the first place, what are they trying to get done, and make sure that we're working to make that as easy and seamless for them as possible. So this is just like an initial proposal on what a jobs to be done study is, what it looks like, what we would like to get out of it. And so the first thing is sort of just starting to think about what are our users and what their what the core functional jobs of those users would be, breaking that down into steps, and then uncovering desired outcomes. So we think that that could be interesting. We also think that this might end up being something that we could start kicking off like in a very holistic, like not super data driven way at KubeCon, because it is an end user conference at the end of the day. And so it might be a really great spot for us to just kind of post up and be like, hey, you know, what are you trying to do with Kubernetes? And like ask a bunch of people. So this was kind of our initial pass at it. It's definitely rough. None of us have actually done a jobs to be done study on our own before. They're sort of seem to be kind of very hot in the user research field right now. So yeah, I don't know. Any thoughts or feedback about this? Cool. And then I guess, so yeah, so this is just kind of something that we're proposing, you know, to start kind of starting to talk more and become more concrete about with KubeCon coming up. We think KubeCon coming up is actually a great potential source of information for us as a SIG. So putting together some sort of plan about how we could get people to, you know, tell us more about why they're interested in Kubernetes, and then make sure that we kind of understand as an upstream community, like who are our end users and like what do they need, and kind of formalizing that a little bit. Cool. So I think that's it from me. Yes, Alistair, I will send you the link. Cool. Does anyone have anything else they'd like to talk about?
Briefly, I wanted to get some opinions on the content for the deep dive. I have a bunch of content written up on the subject of doing more secure defaults around things like network policy and so on, but I wanted to see if folks had basically other content they wanted to see represented, so I don't just kind of go into a rabbit hole there.
Yeah, cool. Let's. Did you have a doc you wanted to share? Or?
I can share this. If I can find the slides, I can share them.
I have that problem all the time.
Sorry, yeah, I just had to switch computers because Zoom was broken on my other one.
Yeah, sound totally stopped working on my computer earlier today while I was recording a different working group meeting. So I just had to like wait for the end to get the recording and then reboot. Out of curiosity, who on the call is going to be at KubeCon?
I will be there. I just got approval today, so
Nice.
my tickets.
Yeah, I'll be there as well.
Cool.
I guess obviously.
Yeah, hopefully.
All right, got it. So right now I just have something fairly skeletal blocked out. Like I also need to add more content around contributing to the SIG, where to find us, stuff like that.
Yeah, I think this looks really good.
Yeah, I'd like to try to block stuff out at a high level before I actually fill in the details. So
Yeah.
Currently it's a bit sparse, but
Yeah. I think your only problem is going to be getting through all this content in like 30 minutes or however long they give you, but it
I,
looks good.
I talk too fast, so trust me, it's possible.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously, like for the intro, what I'm basically going to be doing is just like, here's what we're doing, like here's how you get involved. And the intro sessions, in my experience, are people who've never interacted with the open source community at all. So it's very much like, this is where GitHub is, like this is how you get started. So I think then diving into these things will be perfect for like the more, like the deep dives tend to attract like the more like involved people who have either are kind of doing their own thing in like a similar space and want to see what you're up to and see if they can participate, or are really involved in upstream and like, you know, so this is perfect.
Okay. And I've also very early on filed a CAP around some of this for having a secure mode for network policy. So that's currently getting a lot of attention, mixed somewhat. So we'll see if we can kind of refine that further.
Okay, awesome. So KubeCon is in 4 weeks, right?
Somehow, yes.
Okay. Do you think we should cancel our next regular meeting for KubeCon or have it? Or should we take a poll?
Maybe we can call closer to, like if you put out the call for topics a bit earlier,
Yeah.
we can
Okay,
kind of judge where we're at.
cool. I'll do that. Okay, does anyone have any feedback or ideas for Valerie or me on the KubeCon presentations or anything else they'd like to talk about? Nope. Okay, cool. Well, thanks everybody and chat soon.
All right, thank you.